should be very, very slight. If I jiggle them lightly, they have a slight jiggle to them. When they first come out of the oven, you'll oftentimes see a characteristic area in the middle that's about the size of a quarter that just jiggles a little more than the other parts. And that tells me that it's still slightly liquid in the center, but with carryover cooking, it should solidify as it cools. If you have one that doesn't solidify as it cools, you can always take it, put it in some more water, put it back in the oven for a minute or two, just to help give it a little more heat. But generally, all of your custards should be about the same when they come out of the oven. When it comes time to brulee these, when it comes time to put some fire on them, what we're going to be doing is I take a little bit of sugar and I just pour it on top. Seems like a little bit too much, right? Well, what I do then is I knock off some of the excess until I have something of a crescent of sugar in my custard. And then I just kind of jiggle that back into the center. So I have a nice coating on there. I don't want to have anything more than about 1/16 of an inch thick. We don't want to make it so thick that people have to really bite through it hard. Because remember, some of your customers are older. They may have dentures, they might have partials, they might have other bridges and things. Biting into hard caramel sugar might be too much for them. It can also yank a filling right out of your tooth. So you want to have something thin that a spoon easily cracks through. But you also want to have enough of it on top of the egg that the flame doesn't go through and burn the egg. Remember, egg burns really easily. As some of you may have found out when you were taking the torch to your bubbles, it's very quick to burn. And if you get black egg on top of your creme brulee, it just doesn't look as nice, and it certainly doesn't taste as nice. So a nice coating, just like that. I put them on a safe surface. Your stainless steel table is a good place to put them. On top of parchment is not a good place to put them. I found that out a few years ago. I put them on top of parchment, and then I got a fire going. So when I do this, I do it real simply. I'll move this over where the camera can see it. I really take a medium-sized flame and I put it right on top. And I move it around until I get that sugar to start to melt. Then I actually lift it. And I will actually move the sugar around by tipping it and turning it. I like doing it this way. You may not be brave enough to try it this way. Having the flame so close to your fingers. And you don't have to, really. If you're careful and you do it carefully enough, you can get all that sugar melted by just leaving it on the surface. But I like to lift it and turn it, getting a nice caramel layer on top.
Yummy. It's good. It looks like it's been burnt.
Well, if it gets too dark, it'll start to taste bitter. So we don't want to get too dark. So again, keep that flame moving. Don't leave it in one place for too long. I'm going to leave this one here and see if I can do it. Anytime you're working with this flame, all you have to do is, if you're getting too much heat, just move the flame away. You don't have to worry about it getting out of control if you're careful. You just pull your flame away. You're going to get some smoke. There's no doubt about that. Even then, I got a lot of puddle going, so I'm going to move this around a little bit just to kind of get all my sugar, all that white sugar, completely liquefied. I like to get a nice chestnut color myself, but then I like the slight bitterness you get from that.
You can stick these in the salamander too.
You can. The salamander is a little riskier. I'll warn you now, if you decide to turn the salamander on, the one over here on the right side, the one closer to the end of the line here, is hotter than the other one. Much hotter. But if you put a thick enough layer of sugar on and you're careful, you can actually have real success with the salamander. A lot of restaurants do it this way with the salamander. Now, a lot of guys are going for the torch because it's so easy and so portable.
And it's fun.
And it's fun.
You have to play with fire.
See how this one has a little flame sticking out? It's starting to get cold. So I'm going to kind of put that to the side and save some of the gas for you guys to use.